Hey everyone! Today I get hit with an umbrella. It was a win. So what happened was Nathan's umbrella hit me because the wind kind of, I guess, it broke the umbrella. Would you say? Yeah, it broke the umbrella. So
I think it was on purpose.
yeah, the wind I guess broke the umbrella and it like kind of slammed into my face. But that was a weird intro. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about
Man.
we're here to talk about we're here to talk about appearance today and image. Our perception of our image and how we think other people perceive us. Yeah. So today, speaking is Micah
Nicholas.
And Lucas.
and Lucas. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about image. I would say, I guess, what? So, I don't know, like what question I want to ask.
Do we want to start by defining what we mean when we say image?
Yeah, we could
I
do
think
that.
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in my perception, is that image is we're talking about sort of our perception of ourselves and others. Like, how our perception of ourselves is based off the way we think other people perceive us and the
Yeah.
way that we compare ourselves to others, and in a lot of ways that sort of shapes our image for better or worse.
Mm.
I would definitely
Yeah.
say how I see image is kind of like how Lucas said was how we definitely see how we look, and definitely also too of how we see others as well.
I think image for me is how I think people, like how I guess people perceive me, and then I guess how I can see myself. I see it mostly as how other people perceive me, and I've always had a struggle with image and appearance. Not necessarily like I guess physically and like kind of like in thought, because I've always like had this like idea that someone is like inherently judging me of my image that I project. But like the thing about that, it's like if people are judging you, then it's like they're judging you based on the image you project. But is the image you project, is that your real self, or is it just like
That's a good question.
Yeah.
yeah?
Because, I mean, what you show other people when you're out in public, I think usually is not really who you actually are, especially when you're meeting new people. I mean, it depends on the person. I think that some people are just so great at being authentic and themselves and so unapologetically themselves that they just kind of put themselves out there. But I feel like that's a trait that it's an admirable thing, but it's not something that most people have, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think for me, actually, like, get back to me. Sorry, I lost my thought.
I was gonna say too as well, like kind of what Lucas was saying about how like a lot of people don't have that trick just to go up to somebody.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna go on a CCO little thing here, but at CCO I remember the first couple weeks you would go up and just say hi to somebody. Like Kelly's a campus minister for anyone who's wondering. She would have us go up to someone that we didn't know at that
Yeah.
point. And you would talk. I think it was like you introduced yourself to them. I think there was also like a fun fact as well.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I want to talk about too is CCO went on this North Carolina trip. I'm not gonna talk about it for that long, but like kind of refers to this a little bit is so we basically did this thing where you had to remember facts about people. It was 3 facts, and you had to remember their name too.
Jeez, that's something I could use. I can never go up to people. I can never remember people's names.
Yeah, I think for me, kind of like what I said before, is I'm kind of like, I guess like I have like a sort of this is gonna be hard to talk about, but I always like, I feel like I need to have like a like crafted version of myself to
Okay.
project to the world, and then but I can't reveal any like mistakes or any like mess up or anything. So I guess like the image is like I feel like I need to have like a, I guess, a highly like constructed image but it's not. I don't think it's always conscious.
I
th-
agree.
I don't think it's always conscious. I think it's just um, I think it's just based on like my perfectionism. But recently, I've been more wanting to be like show up more authentically, so that I don't have to like worry about that. And I think that that's my goal is to kind of live from the heart and live authentic, so that I'm not so swayed by everyone else and so worried about like other people's perceptions of me.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the part of that I think that affects the reason that people seem to project a version of themselves that isn't really themselves in public and like with first encounters in people, is because it's easy to fall into the methodry, I guess, of judging people based off first impressions.
Yeah.
And like you see
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
maybe they like make a mistake, and then the only thing you have to perceive this person is something silly that they did, and you say, "Oh, this person must be stupid." But
Yeah, that's like the only thing you associate with that person. It's
yeah,
like,
and
they
then
did this.
but like every person is so extremely complicated that you can't judge someone unless you talk to them. Really.
Yeah.
I would
People
think-
do anyway.
Oh, I thought Lucas, you're
Go.
not. I was gonna say too, like, I've heard this saying a lot, like, where first impressions are everything. However, we make a lot of mistakes too. Like, I have this Bible verse pulled up here on my phone. James 3, verse 2. For we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in anything, he is a perfect man, able to bridle his own body. I would overall say, like, we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna say too, failure is a great thing.
Oh, that's different.
Failure is an
Super.
awesome thing because if you fail, you'll be able to learn from that failure and
Mhm.
see, okay, where did I mess up at?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
improve yourself based off of that failure.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I think for me, like the problem is that I don't like showing other people like my failures, and because I'm afraid that they will perceive me as, I guess like incompetent or something.
Mhm.
So I always feel like I need to like show a sense of, I guess, competency. Like I need to like know everything. I need to make sure I have everything on the table, and I think that's probably like not realizing that's probably like how I've been raised. It's like make sure that like once you're an adult or like at whatever stage, like make sure you're like you show people like that you're, I guess, capable all the time. But like that pressure on yourself and pressure on other people, like you're creating this image based on a sense of perfectionism, and you could never be like we just told us we could never be perfect. We're
Yeah.
always failing, but.
Yeah.
That's hard to hear as like someone that is a perfectionist, to just allow yourself to fail. But I think as something that we all need to hear,
Mhm.
so that we're not so worried about constructing an image that's based off of like being perfect all the time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, Micah, to that as well. Like, I think grades is a great example of this too. Like, we try to strive for A+, and there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
But
Making that
also
noise.
too, like, oh jeez. Okay.
I think it's this. Sorry,
Okay.
it's probably that.
But like, striving yourself to be like perfect on like every single test, like you're gonna mess up. I'm just gonna tell you that
Yeah.
you're gonna mess up. Like, that's how I used to be, like, where I'm like, if I don't get an A on this test, then I'm not happy.
No, I was the same way in high school, and then now I don't necessarily check my grades often. It's only like maybe like midterms or whatever, or like the end of the semester, because I used to like obsessively check my grades in high school.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was,
me
like,
too.
I need to make sure I have that A, but it was just, I guess it was just for the image for my family, or just to show that I'm accomplished.
Yeah, and I think school's a good example of that, because school kind of teaches us to create this, what do you want to call it, like the resume version of yourself,
Yeah.
that like
yeah.
the job application version of yourself that is a person made up of all these accomplishments, and you ignore the failures because, whenever you're applying for a job or you want someone to like you, you don't tell them about the not so great stuff, which is something to think about.
Is that what image is? It's like you are, you, like, you're defining yourself based off of those like external achievements. At least like maybe for some people, it might be like, hey, I'm defining myself by this. So I put all of my eggs in one basket, and then if that fails, or if I get like an F or whatever, then that means like I'm not confident.
Yeah, I mean, I think people try to do that, but I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
Because you are a complex creature made up of all these mistakes and all these accomplishments and everything in between.
Yeah, I just like have, I guess, like a bit of trouble with I guess allowing people to see like my failures and like my mistakes, but that's like all of what being a human is not necessarily defining yourself by mistakes, but allowing people to see that, because that's like kind of, that's a real image. A real image is that, being like kind of like a constructed image is you're always on top of things. Like, I guess that's how I want other people to perceive me. Like, I'm always on top of things and I always like have everything down. But I think that's like, there's no room to be human, and you just need to not do that, and you need to allow people to see those see the messiness of just your life, because that's all of what life is. But it's so hard.
I was gonna ask you guys a question. What is your guys' greatest failure?
Greatest failure? That's an interesting question.
I'll answer. I'll go first if you guys need.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of something to think about.
I think definitely for me. So back like a few years ago in high school, like I used to play soccer. I consider this my greatest failure, not making it. So there's a team nearby here called Beadling. It's in South Point. For anyone who doesn't wonder, my goals are trying to like get on the team and all that. However, I never made it, and I consider that like a big failure for me, just because like I pushed so hard to get on either that team or it was Century. I can't remember, but trying to get on that team worked super hard, and then I got an injury.
So are you saying you didn't want? So yeah, that was your failure. But are you saying, like, did you feel like a sense of letting people down?
Letting myself down.
Oh, letting yourself down based on your expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question, because what defines a greatest failure? I mean, I could think of something broad. It would be hard for me to think of something very specific. Because for me, I feel like the way I fail the biggest and most consistently is settling, in terms of sort of like going for what is okay instead of what I could achieve. Like,
I think that's
that kind of thing.
I think that I can relate to that. Sort of maybe like downplaying like your skills and everything. You're kind of like maybe you're invited to like a position or whatever, but you kind of like downplay your skills, and then you kind of like settle for less or whatever.
Yeah, because I actually did that last semester. Thinking of instances now.
It's all coming.
Yeah, I was gonna.
It's not coming
all
back.
my failures.
I was gonna tell a story like.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I don't know if I have a specific story.
I have one about what you said.
I would say I failed. I would say, I would talk about failure. So I guess like I would say like more specifically in certain relationships, not like romantic, but relationships where I kind of let my anger get the best of me, and like kind of let that like, I guess I didn't like handle it and handle things in a mature way, and I kind of just like let my emotions run the car, and things kind of went south. But I think I've learned since then to not not let that happen and to have more like be more grounded. But yeah, what's your failure story?
I said something about soccer not making like the professional team or whatever.
Mm.
But also too, like, I remember like in high school there was this one class that was pretty difficult, and me like not doing as well as like other classes too. I felt very disappointed in myself. Like, I think, what did I get in? I think I got a C in it. Like, I felt very disappointed in myself.
Yeah, and it goes against when I do fail, like when I do mess up, or when I like kind of like in that those examples that I just gave, I felt like so much shame because it went against the constructed image of me as like, oh, I'm a nice person, I'm a good person, and like I'm a like I'm a confident person or whatever. But like when I fail, it's like it goes against that image, and it kind of it's like a sense of shame. Like, oh, you just witnessed me in this moment of failure, and I failed you. And first of all, if you fail someone else, that there's like more
Oh,
shame.
yeah.
That hurts.
There's more shame. But like if I guess for well at least for me, failing someone else is more of there's more shame than failing like my own expectations. But it went against the image that I wanted to project, and it wasn't until that situation that I had to change my image of more of a person that is going to mess up in those situations, and instead before it was just like, oh, I'm just always going to be like the perfect friend or the perfect person or whatever. But when the situations happen, I just started to accept that I'm going to make mistakes, but through those mistakes I can grow, and I don't need to construct an image of, oh, I'm such a good person. I'm like, I don't have to project that image, which I'm still working on um getting comfortable with that, because I think when it comes down to like appearance, I think appearance isn't just necessarily.
Mm.
I think it can be what you wear, like kind of like we talked what was that a couple weeks ago. It can be in regards to what you wear, but it can also be like in how you want people to perceive you, what the energy you project, and is it like authentic energy, or is it more so like I want to project this perfect image,
Mm-hmm.
which I struggled with for years, and now I'm realizing
Mhm.
I don't need to.
I have definitely struggled with that a lot in high school.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of all go through that phase of like not knowing who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, which that deals with image a lot.
Like, I know back in high school, I was like, who am I? Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I relate to that because having like I guess image starts with having a secure sense of identity and a secure sense of like who you are and what you want to be. Not that you have to like know totally know everything, but I guess if you don't like have that secure foundation within yourself, then um you're going to like use external things to define you, whether it be your achievements or accomplishments. Not that like not that it's like it's bad to be proud of them, but like you feel like, okay, this is all of me.
Yeah.
All of me is like I achieved this thing. That's like all
Mm.
of me.
Because that's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest way to create an image, to create an
Mhm.
identity.
Yeah.
Because real identity is much more complicated. Because you'll throughout life you'll think you're one thing, and then maybe you'll make a big mistake or something, or maybe you'll come across something new, and then you'll discover something new about yourself that kind of goes against what you thought you knew about yourself, and then kind of fractures that image.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know if it's like more of a problem with men in regards to accomplishments and having like all the trophies, quote unquote trophies you have, not like physical trophies, but like all like the stuff you have.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like laughing.
Yeah, I feel like
I have a story.
I feel like men, or men specifically, are more focused on external accomplishments to define their image.
Yeah.
Where I feel like it's different for women in that, like, I'm not gonna try and, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I know what you're
I know
saying.
what you're saying. I also think another area of image that we kind of try to define ourselves is money.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about, I think a couple
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago.
We did have a money episode.
We
Go
did
check
Money.
it out,
have a
guys.
episode.
Go check it out.
So I think it's that's another area where we try to put our image at, but it's like in all these things, it's like those things can go away. Like there's, I guess, yeah, I think those things can go away. Like accomplishments can, you're not always gonna accomplish something, but like if you don't, you feel a sense of shame because you put your image on that.
Okay, now you've brought up an interesting point, because stuff that isn't authentic, isn't our authentic self, can go away, but what is our authentic self can't go away.
It stays. Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it stays.
Oh, okay.
I said it
Oh,
can go away. You
sorry.
said it stays. Same thing.
I thought you said it could go away.
Go away.
It
Come on.
could go
What?
away. Our authentic self is gone.
It's just gone.
No more authentic self. But
Yeah,
yeah, like, what is it that you can't get rid of? You can't lose from yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something like it's good to discover that. It's good to discover that, and but it's also freeing me by like kind of rediscovering my authentic self and not focusing on like the external image that I want to project. You said you had
I have a little story
okay, you had
now.
a story.
So basically, our pastor, I go to Tove. It's in Bridgeville. We were talking about promises to people,
Mm-hmm.
and like what promises we make to people, because like, so basically, it's called external vows, and what that is a vow made with another person involving a promise and taking into account that person's interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we like to make all these promises to people, and not actually follow through with them.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
I don't
something
know
that
how to-
happens.
Yeah.
And that kind of can hurt
That's
our
rough.
image or perception.
Yeah, I think there's like kind of a couple points to tackle on that. Is like, yeah, it's good to follow through, because I guess like if you don't, then that means like your image is kind of skewed by other people. But for me, like at the same time, I think like following through on promises. When it comes to promises, I think it's okay for me. I'm trying to like accept that it's okay to say like, okay, I couldn't follow through on this promise, because
Yeah.
that's also like an image thing of not being like a perfect person.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, yeah, people might be upset, but hopefully they'll give you enough grace to be like, oh, okay, you're not like you're not intentionally doing that. It's just you're imperfect. But if you like, I guess like if you consistently not follow through on your promises, then I guess it might like
Yeah, it's just a matter of, is it a mistake or is it something you keep doing and you just
Yeah,
don't
that's very
care?
true.
yeah. So it's like those two points.
I was also
Yeah.
gonna say too as well, kind of to your point, Micah, about that too. I think it's okay to like not follow through. Like if you're not like following through like every like time, we got a problem. But if it's like, but like if it's like, oh, you're not following through like once or twice, or like it's every once in a while, then that's fine.
Yeah, just gotta accept that. Well, I feel like it's simple, but I feel like one of the most difficult things for people to do to other people is to accept that they're imperfect and accept that they're different from each other. It's a very, very simple idea, but I see time and again people just decide to hate someone else because they just are different and don't understand. Not because they're doing something bad, it's just because it's something that they don't perceive, and I feel like that's can be an image issue.
Yeah. So are you saying like our perception or image of how I want you to be is different than like who you actually are, or is it like
That can be a part of it, yeah.
okay? Because like that's what I'm seeing it like. You're like who like the image that I want you to be that I want you to be is different, and I'm projecting like an image on you, but it's also not fair because you didn't agree to that.
Yeah.
Like you didn't agree to be I don't know, a straight A student,
Mhm.
or you didn't agree to do all that. But if I project that image on you, that creates like that creates a lot of stress and anxiety for you, but also maybe for me, because I'm always like
Mhm.
expecting that from you, and then you're always like taking that in, like, oh, you're
Mhm.
expecting me to be this person that and actually, like, that's not me, which I think a lot of men can probably struggle with, is that perhaps society on a societal level, on a societal level, and this is, I relate to this so much, like on a societal level, there's an expectation of men to be a certain way, to have a certain image, a certain status or image or appearance, and then that's not actually who you are, which I struggled with that for years, because I thought there was something wrong with me, but it was just like it was just society projecting its image on you, but it's not actually like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Kind of. Micah, you took that a different direction than
Oh.
what I actually
Okay,
understood.
I-
Well, no. You were completely correct in all of that. But the kind of way that I was going about it is that people take it. I feel like the best example is when it comes to either politics or religion or stuff like that. Like if you like, a lot of people who aren't religious hate people who are religious because they don't understand that mindset, and vice versa. And so, like, since you're not in their shoes, you don't understand why they do what they do, and so you project this negative image because you don't understand what they are.
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like creates a lot of like division, and really you might have more in common with someone than you perceive, but it's just because there's like an image that you project on someone sometimes before even meeting them, or like because based on a few interactions, you're just, oh, this person is this image, therefore our interaction should be like, my perception is limited based on that, which, I mean, it's not like, I don't think like we mean to do that. It's just, I think it's important to be aware of that, because it can be limiting when you're like, that's all you think that a person is like the image. Well, he's going back to image and appearance, and it's based on the appearance that you've given to someone, or you're basically kind of like judging someone based on their appearance.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say too, to kind of add to image and like appearance too, is like how you see a place as well.
Mm.
Now I'm gonna go into a pretty long story. I think Micah knows.
Okay.
So basically, the CCO, we went to North Carolina over the break.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say, it was very humbling.
Okay.
Very humbling, because what we saw down there, and I know it's probably going around social media right now, it was very humbling because there's people who have lost everything down there.
Mm.
And that was not shown on the news. It was not shown anywhere.
Mm.
And it was just like, where was this at? Where's this been? Like, why are we not showing this to other people?
So are you saying that so that like that could tie so that so like the
Reality.
the
Reality.
reality of it is different than like what the news might want to portray?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And we were shocked. I know a lot of our faces were very surprised. A very good story for you. One of my friends, Kyle, he made us go on a walk the first day we got there. We went up this road.
I love Kyle.
He's amazing. I know probably a lot of you guys know him. They're watching the podcast, but
I mean, he takes some good pictures of me.
we went up this like road, and we saw like toys, like a whole bunch. Like it was just like, we saw like a broken fridge, like all these toys that people once like had and stuff, just like completely destroyed.
I guess that the image like that, it is humbling because it's like it's a real setting, and it's not it's not like crafted.
Mm.
It's not like the perfect house that you might like see on sitcoms or whatever. I watch a lot of sitcoms, so that's fine. It's not an example. I watch a lot, but it's not like the perfect. It's not the perfect house, which I can get back to that point in a second. But it's not like that. What you saw in North Carolina, it was like different than like, maybe what you're what you're used to seeing, especially on like if you watch anything on TV or whatever, of just the perfect family. Like not everyone like that's not realistic. No one has that's an image. That's an appearance. No one has the perfect family,
Oh yeah.
which I'm realizing like in the past couple of years. It's like what I've grown up with TV and what I saw on TV. I guess like I think sometimes it probably trained me to feel less than in it a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't have that. But that's also like you're comparing
There you go.
yourself to an image and an appearance. And when we watch, I watch a lot of sitcoms. So when we watch a lot of sitcoms, it's like that's not real. I mean, you might know like conscious. What is it called? I don't know. Cognitively, it's not real, but you still feel like you need to compare, and that leads me to like another point is like we compare ourselves to other people's appearance,
Oh, we do.
but like appearance, appearance can change. What about like I know it sounds like so like cheesy, but like what about what's inside?
Yeah, well, because it's like the whole first impressions thing. The first impression is what you look like,
Yeah.
not what you are inside. And so that's
Yeah.
why not only do you try and
Yeah.
put on an image, put on the persona or an image of your personality, you try and make yourself look great on the outside too, so that people don't want to, people want to talk to you, that kind of thing.
Wait, so maybe like image or appearance is prioritized over like authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah.
So, and I think that let's just like leave that thought right there. I want to know your thoughts. Like, is image or appearance prioritized over authenticity or like your real self?
I
don't know.
feel like that.
This is a good question.
Especially for
Does-
men.
Because for men, I don't know. For men, I feel like because I know because you would think that for women will probably have problems with trying to appear,
Yeah, more so.
because I know men are typically, well, just in generalization, men are generally less concerned about their physical looks, but that doesn't mean that guys don't have body issues and appearance issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say to the point of like appearance and image to like social media. I know I mentioned this earlier.
Oh
about
yeah.
social media. I was gonna get a little bit more into that point. Like especially with the invention of that, we've seen more comparisons, and I remember we had this one good conversation in guys group in CCO where we were talking about we were comparing ourselves to this famous person or this celebrity. We want to be like them.
Yeah.
But it is who you are. Don't take that away from you. You are yourself, and you're only yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing to realize, and because, like, you can be great at something, but you can still find someone who's better than you if you look for it. But the thing is, that person isn't you. They don't have your scenario. They're, you're doing best for what you have. They're doing best with what they have, and then it all comes together because the hardest thing to realize is that you're a unique person that is not the exact same as anyone else on the whole planet, and so you can have a unique perspective and do unique things and have accomplishments that are just as impressive as everyone else's.
Yeah. I also think back to like what we were saying before about like do men prioritize image and appearance over authenticity? I think my perspective is that we do, but like again, this is like me generalizing, and we do so more in the way of like sometimes it is closed, like sometimes it is closed. It's also having like a certain body,
Oh yeah.
having that certain body, um, maybe looking you like you have all your cards on the table, like
Mhm.
I know I
Yeah.
know everything or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I think I already mentioned money. I mentioned money.
Mhm.
Um, we also talked about shoes. I think it was like a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
weeks
Yeah,
ago.
we did talk about shoes.
Shoes is another one. It's like
Mm.
um, like having like certain shoes, and I think we do, like we do struggle with like with appearance, but not in like
A different way.
yeah, it's like in a
Yeah.
different way. It's more of, what car do you drive, like
Yeah.
what does your house look like? It's all those things, and
Yeah.
when when we're comparing and like prioritizing that, we're kind of like living on the surface, where there's no and maybe that's why we get so lost in those achievements or accomplishments or those shoes, rather than like who we are, and then we're questioning like, wait, who am I? I'm not like the shoes I have, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we like confine and we find reasons to sort of change our appearance for certain things too. I mean, at least
Mhm.
that's what's in my mind because that's kind of what I've done recently is like, I've talked about it before. After my last relationship ended, I like wanted to change my appearance in order to feel like I don't know, like to just so that I could feel like I was doing better, like I improved, like I changed.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's initially why
Yeah.
that's why I grew a beard, because I wanted to be like, oh, I'm more mature now. Like this is
Yeah.
I've gone through character
Yeah.
development, and so that's kind of a personal anecdote.
Yeah, which I'm gonna say that's not like, I don't think that's necessarily like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but like maybe if that's but maybe if that's above like how you've changed, like emotionally or internally, then that might be a slippery slope, like trying to, like if you're trying to show someone or show, um maybe like like this group of people is like, oh, you would never make it, and then now you're trying to show those people like, oh, I made it, look at me, I'm like, I have a college
Yeah.
degree, like, look.
Yeah, it's like the trope in like fiction where it's like, oh, it's like I don't know, a sad fat guy, and then like a year later he's completely ripped and everything, and like he's like,
Yeah.
haha, loser, I did it. It's like,
Yeah,
it's-
it's like, it's also like in those like scenarios, it's like, well, what did, like, I guess like a good question to ask yourself is like, what did you gain from that? Did you like, grow, like just on the surface, like you're just showing those people, like from back then, like, hey, I grew, look at me, but did I actually grow, or was it just like an image or appearance thing?
yeah,
I think it's like, I think it's hard.
Are you trying to appear like you changed, or do you actually change?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I think, changing your appearance is a way to like to honor the growth that you've experienced internally. But I think sometimes, like, if we focus so much on that and like we prioritize that, like maybe like, oh, prioritize like, oh, look at all the shoes I have, and you said I could never, like, I don't know, I have all the shoes. If you prioritize that, then it's like you're setting yourself on this like superficial standard that doesn't really like doesn't technically matter. I think we make, when we like make appearance matter so much above everything else. I'm saying this as a person that like, I like fashion and stuff, but like if you like, if that's like the number one thing, then there's like no room for any authenticity or any, for you to show your like real self, which involves your failures. Might add that, is that involves your failures. So if you're not, yeah, I'm just going on a tangent. Sorry.
No, you're good.
If
you're
you're
good.
if you're like, yeah, if you're so focused on that, then just like when you do make a mistake, it's such like a big thing because your image is like so focused on trying to achieve everything. I think that's what a lot of men struggle with.
I was gonna say two things. One, you talked about shoes. Like, I have some actually. Like, these shoes that I'm wearing right now, I wore to like on work sites and stuff. Like, they might not look dirty, but they are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear them out. That's what I'm
Yeah.
planning on doing. Like,
Yeah.
like with those and like with clothes. So you were talking about fashion as well. What our family decides to do, and I have decided to do this with any clothes that I don't want. First, I give them to my cousins, and if they don't want them, we give them to Goodwill.
Yeah, that's what I do too. And it's not only that. It's like, I don't know. I think for me, when because I do like to shop and I do like to do that, but it's also like I found that it's a way to express myself, but also it can also be a slippery slope for me when I'm like that's all I'm focusing on, and like to the point where you're just like I need to like make sure I look so quote unquote perfect, but it's not actual. That's not an actual thing. It's just that's like the expectation that you set for yourself, and I think also like our expectations that we set for ourselves also influence the image that we portray to the world, and that we want other people to perceive us because we want to be accepted, but maybe that's not. Maybe the way towards acceptance isn't actually just a crafted image.
I mean, yeah, to be truly accepted, you have to show people who you are.
Yeah. But it's hard though.
It's very hard.
It's hard.
Because like you never know if you have the right if you have the right people around you who are going to accept you, or like are these people putting up the same like front that you are?
That's another thing. Yeah.
Like you never really know.
Yeah.
I was gonna kind of say something similar, but a little bit different. Depending on who your friends are, like your friend circle, are they gonna motivate you and push you to be your best, or are they motivating you in the wrong way?
I think looking back in like certain situations in high school. Sorry. Looking back in certain situations in high school, we were so focused on, I guess it's like the maturity level at the time, but we were focused so much on like shoes and like appearances, and in that environment, like in middle school and high school, it was always like people would say like talk to me about like oh you're skinny and stuff like that, you're this and you don't have like your shoes are not Nike or whatever. I don't know whatever standard it was. I forgot. But they were always like, they would say that about me, and it would make me feel less than. But it was based on my image, versus the fact that they didn't even like get to know me on a deeper level, like my interests and like who I am. So it was just a very superficial thing. I still felt shame about it at the time, but it was just very superficial. And once I realized that aspect, I realized that what is most important is who I am, apart from all of that. Not to saying that our like appearance is totally separate from that, but it's not everything. Like appearance isn't everything. Is there a saying that says appearance is everything?
There's definitely a saying that says something like that.
There is a saying like that.
Appearance is everything. I don't know about that. I don't know.
I would disagree with that.
I don't know. I don't think.
Appearance. Well, I mean, it's not
Well,
everything unless you perceive it to be.
Yeah.
And if it's that important to you, then that's your entire life is how people perceive you. Then.
Yeah.
I would also say it's still important. Don't get me wrong, but don't like prioritize.
It's important, but I think I don't know if it's like our modern culture, but I feel like we have like a hyper fixation on appearance.
We do.
So much to the point where it's like we can't have like any perceived flaw, and this is what it can come down to, like physical appearance, but it can also come down to making a mistake, where it's we're like so highly critical when we do make a mistake, and because we don't want, like, we're, I guess, like, in the back of our mind, it's like, what is so and so gonna think when they find out that I did this? What are they gonna think about that? And I better hide this so they don't know. It's like that secret thing. That secret thing. Like, I better hide this so they don't know. But maybe, I don't know if it's like, is it that we've been, like, trained to think that way, or is it just that we feel pressured to think that way because of, like, our perfectionistic standards? And how are we going to? It's wow, that's like a hard.
I think it has to do
it's,
with
like, hard.
competition.
Oh, competition's a big one. Competition. Oh.
We live in a world where you have to be better than other people in order to be successful. So
Yeah.
So I think that's the origin of the culture of you need to put your best. You have to present yourself the best version of yourself, and you can't be like, you have to be better than other people. You have to stand out. Because if you look less than people think you're less, then you won't be like put up on a pedestal above others.
Dang.
And it's like
there's a lot of points that we can go into that.
Yeah. Let's just keep going.
I mean,
I'm fine with that.
Someone else say something.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, especially for men, it's like a competition thing, but it's just like, so, like, I need to think about this for a second.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, it's
because, I mean, it's just kind of like, I mean, social media enforces this as well. We kind of talked about that, but I think that's one of the even bigger things. That's because like before telephones or before cell phones,
and before telephones,
telephones. But whenever we weren't connected to the internet and we couldn't understand just how much better, in quotation marks, everyone else is, and all the famous people are. Social media helps us perceive incorrectly how perfect everyone else's life is.
Well, I guess, like, before that, they didn't have they didn't have a standard, like a daily standard of what I guess a qualified or competent human was, because it was just, what was around you. And now I guess, like, now it's just like an image that you see like a lot that isn't that is based on an appearance. So you feel, that does affect, like, how you perceive yourself too. But competition, like, oh my gosh, competition like for men is such a huge thing, I guess, with the image.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, competition for men goes down to just very, like, even like basic animalistic nature.
Yeah, of wanting to always
It's
some background music.
There you go. You have some back. Hopefully, it doesn't get copyrighted.
of wanting to, I guess, always be the better person or always appear better. It's like it's also like a pressure thing too. It's like having to appear better, wanting, like, I need to always look better. I always need to do better than this person. I don't know how it is, like, with, like, the gym, because, like, I don't go to the gym. I don't know if you guys.
I don't either.
I go to the gym.
You're gonna have to educate us.
Yeah, I have to tell us.
You're gonna have to educate us, 'cause I don't know how it is. My roommate does, but
there's a huge online culture among, like, oh, you're too small or you're too skinny. You need to be, like, bulky and big and muscular.
That's
and,
what
like, it's a huge problem, because these grown men on social media are posting their professional bodybuilding pictures they're on steroids.
Yeah.
And then these 20-year-olds are like, I want to look like that. But like these bodybuilders, they don't say that they're on steroids. And so the young people, they don't know. They're like, I can look like that if I train hard enough. And then you can't. And then they, like, starve themselves, or they eat too much, or they work themselves until they're, like, injured. And then it's like, that's
why I don't understand about, like, because I don't go to the gym. Not for that reason. I don't know. It's just a preference. But I think
most people in the gym are really nice, but there's some people.
But I don't know. I guess it's like an image thing too. I don't know too much about that, but I don't like the fact that there is a standard of men of how you have to be, of like your body shape or size.
Mm.
I like my size. I don't know. I like I don't know. I think I don't. I guess because it's also unspoken. It's like an unspoken rule that you have to have. I guess like the image of the abs or
Yeah, like,
the muscles.
abs
or,
are an entirely different issue, but uh, but yeah, you're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to look strong, but like
Yeah.
being strong and looking strong are different.
It's totally
Yeah.
different things,
Yeah.
and I just I don't know. I just don't want I don't want to look like that. Like
I mean,
they
like,
they look cool. Those people look like they look good, but I just don't.
I mean, you could. I mean, you can't really look like that if you try hard enough, unless you're
Yeah,
taking, unless
like,
you're
you
taking
can't.
testosterone and trenbolone and whatever.
You can't. I kind of like. I guess I feel for the people that do. I guess they feel the need to do that. That they need to like alternate like their body, but there's not.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with their bodies.
I mean,
We're all.
I was kind of a member of that gym culture in my during COVID, and I
Your
was
heydays?
inside.
I'm
just
And
kidding.
then-
Your heydays.
Back in my day,
I feel like
I
a young
was
man here.
Yeah.
back in my day, I had to with my little dumbbells in my room during COVID after online school,
Yeah.
trying to get ripped, and it's like it doesn't work like that. There are like so many YouTube videos like do this workout and you get shredded in this amount of time.
Oh.
Really?
And it's like there's like the videos are so misleading. They're titled "Get Abs in 5 Minutes."
Oh,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
What I don't like is the
It's so
ads.
silly.
I do get like when I'm watching like YouTube videos, but that have nothing to do with like the gym or anything. I'll get ads about that. It's like, okay, but I don't know.
There's just so much.
Lucas, I have done the same.
You've done the
I've tried
the dreaded 5-minute ab work.
I used to like really like do those like videos where it's like work on your arms and
Oh,
all
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. You just like when you're going to the gym, you just really have to keep in mind that you're not gonna be extremely ripped. You're gonna have a little bit of fat. You're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna have things that they don't show on social media.
I think that's
Oh,
what we
yeah.
talked about a couple weeks ago too. It's like you're gonna have like a little bit of fat or a little, or you're gonna be smaller, but it doesn't like mean anything. It's just that's just who you are, and if you're like if you're like focusing so much on that, then you're gonna like you miss the fact that you're just like, you miss your whole person isn't just isn't just those things. It's just so much more, and like you said, like initially like, we're complex humans,
We are.
and if you have this image of me based on my appearance, like I wouldn't blame you, but at the same time that's not like all of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's hard. It's hard to like not focus so much on image, because that's maybe that's like what we're trained to do. It's like we focus so much on appearance, make sure things look good. But I don't know. I guess now it's like something to think about, because I want to like approach situations and relationships as my authentic self. And when I say that, I mean like failures too as well. Like that's so important to show your failures, or to show that you're not perfect, or that you're awkward or whatever. But if you don't show that, then I guess people aren't gonna like feel safe, like on their like the receiving end. It's a complicated thing. I went on a tangent.
It's a
No.
complex issue.
Complex.
I would say too, like it's okay to share your failures. I agree with you heavily. Like
Yeah.
especially like I know like my last season of soccer, like I was telling all these people, it's okay to fail. Like I want you to fail. Like
I'm rooting
not
for
in a
that.
bad way, but like learning from your mistakes will help you long term.
Yeah.
That's how like I'm gonna use soccer here as my great example. I played soccer for a very long time.
Mm.
I felt messing up actually helped me,
Yeah.
because it helped me see, okay, I did this wrong.
Yeah,
Let me
you gotta
learn
mess
from
up.
that.
Yeah.
Let me take that as a learning experience and be like, okay, let's not do this next time, or I need to do this better.
If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Yeah,
I'd rather fail in private.
Yeah, and that's
That way
the
no one
thing.
knows.
I completely understand that.
That's the
And
thing.
no one knows. But I think it's important. It's important to fail in public as well. It sounded weird. It's important to fail in public as well. Like you might like acknowledge your weaknesses or mistakes in private, but like it's also important, like you said, to share them with others, and just to allow people to see that, because it opens you up to becoming a more authentic person, so that you're not, and also like you also overcome that anxiety of like what people are going to think if you do show your failures and show that like that I'm, I can be messy, I can be unorganized.
Yeah.
You can just come see my room, and just no, not actually, but like just like hypothetically, some people are like, oh no, don't come to my house because it's so messy. But like at the same time, I'm not like I don't do that. Like if I were to like invite you to my dorm or house, like I wouldn't invite you like as it is, because it's just I wouldn't like feel the need to like hurry up and
Yeah.
tidy
right.
things
It's like
tidy
the
things
saying,
up.
he who cleans his home expects visitors.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's also how I grew up. It's like, when relatives are coming over, like make sure you clean everything up and make sure everything's like okay. Which yeah, you want to like that's like there's a good like it is a good thing to that. Like you want to make sure that things are looking, I guess, okay. But like when it comes to down to an appearance thing, when you're wanting like if you're so hyper fixated to the point where like you're having like anxiety about your house of people coming over, then I think it's like okay to like let the mess be sometimes, even though it's hard, especially for me. It's like hard to like let the mess be over there, but it shows that you're human as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't really thought about things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think that makes a lot of sense metaphorically too.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't just have to be like a house, but like it can be whatever. It's just like allow yourself to, it's not, it's today. It's just not. It's gonna look how it is, and it's just.
You might even be a little charming. It's character.
Yeah, because it's like that shows, like I feel like people are gonna we're afraid that people aren't gonna like us because of our mess, but I think people actually appreciate the fact that you're okay with being messy.
Yeah, I mean, people who people who share their problems are very brave, and it takes bravery to do that.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because everything around us conditions us to
Hide it.
and
Yeah.
present ourselves as this, like I said before, this job application version of ourselves.
Yeah, the job application, like
The
this is-
resume version.
Yeah, like this is like, this is all my achievements. Look at what I did at this time. It's like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong. Again, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it's just there's it's kind of like a surface thing, and like I think it's good in those job application settings, but it's not always like to live by that. It's you don't have to live confined to your appearance. That's different. I've never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to live like confined to your appearance. You don't have to what I mean by that, it's like you don't have to live confined by the, I guess, the how you want people to perceive you. You can live outside of that. It might be scary to like show your failures and to live outside of that, but I think it's also freeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it? It's like,
I'd say we've been running
like
for
an
50
hour.
We
about-
ran for 58 minutes.
It's time to
Jeez.
wrap up, I suppose. But we were getting there naturally anyway.
Yeah, I think it's okay to step outside of that. I think it's hard. I think we don't. I think we're hesitant because we're afraid of like showing failure. we're also afraid of failure itself in general. Maybe we should talk about failure. Failure
Yeah,
next
that's a good
episode.
topic.
Failure episode.
Let's do a
would be
failure
good one.
episode next time. Which that I think I now want to do a failure episode. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, there's more to say, so we're gonna put a little
Part 2.
bookmark there.
Part 2.
Yeah, I think it's I think to close the to wind it down, it's like you have to try to, it's hard to overcome your fear of living outside of the image. As I write failure down, it's hard to live outside of that, but it's also important so that you can free yourself from, for me personally, from the anxiety of how other people perceive you, but also you can like live more freely, and like it's like you have like a flow to you, and that's like the energy you give off.
You break those chains that bind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
break the chains that bind you. The chains of like image. It's like
Yeah.
it can be, it's like it can be like I don't know if it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like you, I don't know what would describe it as an
I mean, I feel
addiction, maybe like an
we're
obsession.
limited by standards, and
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
we could we could reach our potential if we embrace who we really are.
Yeah, we can, cause that way like we can, like you said, we can do, like we don't have to be like we can do things that maybe like we're afraid to step outside of our limits, and we can do more things because we're okay with failure, and I think that's a good note to leave off of. It's like, if you're struggling with your image and like how you perceive others to be, it's I think it's kind of like a preview to the next episode.
Yep.
It's like be okay with failure, and be okay with stepping outside of the image.
Oh, I have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
Getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's another image.
That's
thing.
how you improve and change and broaden your perspectives.
Yeah. Oh, are we?
I mean, final notes from me.
Any final words?
Final thoughts from me. The conclusions that I've made in this episode is that a lot of the reasons why we create this job application version of ourselves is because we have in a world dominated by competition. You want to be better than other people so you can succeed. However, those constraints tend to make us bottle ourselves up and bottle up our potential and what we really are. So, moral of the story: break those chains that bind you.
Oh.
One night it's a song lyric. Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Break those chains that bind you.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. We will return for
Thank
the
you
next.
for turning in.
Thank you.
Thank you for
For
joining
this
us today.
hour-long episode.
Yeah, it was a long one.